Hi, it's James here for recognition of prior learning with Vtech automotive training. Today I'm going to be showing you a tyre fit to an 18-inch spoked rim. Now this rim was brought to me as an off fit, so the customer brings in just the wheel assembly, and during the time where the customer brings it in I actually inspect it in front of them, and so I've already inspected prior to putting it on the machine. I've inspected the spokes for any free play or damage or bending or broken spokes, so I could talk to the customer about fixing those prior to doing the tyre change. And I also inspect the rim for any major dings that could affect the tyre fitment process and the tyre sealing. And I also inspect the wheel bearings to make sure that they're in reasonable condition, and so I can talk to the customer about also replacing those things if they're damaged. But let's move on, let's check out the video and we'll go from there.
This is me setting up the machine. The wheel that I'm doing requires more height because of its sprocket and disc setup. I then remove the valve core to release the pressure. Then I loosen the valve nut and rim lock nut. Avoiding the areas of the valve and rim lock, I then break the bead seal using the bead breaker. When putting the rim in the machine's clamps, it's a good idea to put the sprocket side down. If you slip with the lever, the sharp edges can cause injury. A quick check to make sure that it's seated properly, and it's time to remove the tyre. I start just after the rim lock because I can't let it hit the duck head. I then add a little bit of lubricant, place the duck head in place, and lever the upper bead over the duck head. It's then time to remove the tube's valve nut completely in order to remove the tube. Again, starting after the rim lock, I lever the lower bead over the duck head. I then inspect the rim tape's condition and the rim lock's condition. They're quite dirty, so I give them a bit of a wipe down, but both of them are still functional. Then it's time to lube up the new tyre and make sure that its direction of travel is correct. I place it over the rim lock first so the rim lock will be positioned correctly. and as it rotates I try to have the bead located in the well to avoid any unnecessary stress on the tyre. I then double check the tube. This tube was a heavy duty tube and was never suspect of having a leak, but I always check just in case. I check by filling it with air, squeezing it and feeling for air releasing and also listening to it to see if I can hear it. I then use a valve puller to pull the valve stem through the rim. I then loosely attach the valve nut to secure it in place so it won't come out again. And insert the rest of the tube into the tyre. And lube up the upper facing bead. What I'm doing here is applying pressure to the loosened rim lock so that it sits back into the tyre so I can put the upper bead in place by hand, just around the area where the rim lock is. Starting after the rim lock again, I can fit the upper bead into place using the turntable. By sliding the tyre like I am here, I'm adjusting the valve stem straight before continuing to the next step, which is to remove the wheel from the clamps and also tighten the valve nut up a tad. I then fill it with air to pop the bead into place. And I check the bead indication marks to ensure it's correctly fitted. I then tighten the rim lock, fit the valve cap and give it a wipe down, and this wheel is ready to go.